Hey everyone, thanks for being patient with me. Just give me a couple more seconds and we'll get into it. Okay, how is everyone doing? I have been a little absent recently because I've been, well, just relaxing and sort of staying away from things like YouTube, Facebook, and all that stuff. So you might have noticed that I haven't been around much. Not that I'm getting burnt out, I just got back from Greece and I started to jump right back into my thesis. And, it was, I just really didn't want to do the writing. And so I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna take some time off for a little bit. Hold on, I'm grabbing my maps here. I'm trying to remember here where we're at. Okay. Oh, hey, Richard. Everything is going good. Can everybody hear me all right? Is the music at a good level? Let me know so I can fix it before we get too far into it. So I'm looking at this. I'm trying to reorient myself here to what we did last. So it looks like... Looks like the last house we finished was A11, what they call A11 on this map. Which is this guy right here. Let's reacquaint ourselves with this here. Oh, okay. How did you get up? Oh, that's how you get upstairs. Oh, this one's nice. I like this one. It's a little sort of skinny one, but this isn't bad. This is not bad at all. And then, yeah, I got the little mother-in-law's house with the access right here. That's right. I'm starting to remember now. So yeah. This is, okay, I'm remembering. Okay. So if that is A11, so we still have A12 and 13. So 12 is going to be that one. Maybe we'll do A13. But we also have two more. How many do we have on the other side? We have... Yeah, we have two more going... No, we don't. Hold on, this doesn't look right. We have... Oh boy, what do we have? Let's see here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Oh wow, no, we have an absolute shit ton more. But yeah, we have we have a lot more that we still need to do. I don't know what I was thinking. Hold on, let me see if I can find my other map here. Okay. I've got other maps here. There we go. I'm looking for that one. Okay, so the map I'm looking at right now, which you can't see because I don't have it on the screen. Hello, Perseverance. Shows 1, 2, 3 blocks. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. Wait. One, 2, and 3. Okay. So the third block is this one. Okay, that's the third block. Yeah, so we've got quite a bit left that we've got to do here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more houses we got to do. So you know what? Let's just dive on in. We're just gonna go ahead and dive on in, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So we've got these 3 that are done. Okay, and actually I misspoke earlier. The skinny house is, yeah, past the skinny house there's 3 more that need to go that way, so we're not going to do those. So let's just do the rest of the ones heading this way. So the first house here, and I'm going to do a little bit of ranting today about sponsorships and fake sponsorships, because I find it really annoying that people do that. Okay. First one is going to... By the way, how's everyone else's week going? I hope it's going all right. This house is actually absurdly huge. It spans the rest of this block and goes into this block here. In fact, it goes pretty much all the way to okay, let's see what this is. I'm still sort of trying to orient myself here. It goes really far. We'll just say that it goes really far. So let's go ahead and start dividing up the rooms in the front. Hey Oda, Minty G Bean says, "Good day. This seems quite fascinating. May you go into detail about Olynthos? I would like to know more about the place you're building." Yeah, I can talk a little bit more about it. It's actually a pretty fascinating place because it shows some really interesting ideas and themes that were sort of new to the ancient Greek world. All right, we're coming off of this wall here, which is, oh, look at that. It's almost like I know. Okay, so we got to come off of this wall almost exactly. Oh, as exact as we can in Minecraft. So Olynthos, excuse me, Olynthos, surprisingly was planned. And if you've ever been to Europe, a lot of the old cities, old ancient cities, aren't really planned. That's not really their thing. They don't plan them. They just sort of build them as they go along. That's why you have like weird roads. Sometimes they're like old donkey trails and things like that. And so they'll like curve and go this way or that way, have really narrow streets. None of the houses look the same, though they might have a similar style. They just generally don't like follow a pattern, right? Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me unpin this message because we've already started. Okay, there we go. So a lot of these places aren't planned. Well, Olynthos, for what we can tell, was planned. It absolutely 100% was planned. The houses seem to all follow a very similar pattern. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, bam. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's how that goes? Correct. And so what you end up with is this basically this planned community. These houses that share very similar features. They share very similar layouts. And that's kind of what we've been noticing as we've been building. These houses all seem to really conform to an idea of what a house is supposed to look like. And I find that fascinating, because that's not really something that came about until much, much later. When you drive through, America, you come across planned communities all the time. I affectionately call them clone homes because that's what they look like. It looks like the same house has just been cloned over and over and over again. And you come across these houses and you come across these communities. They're all densely packed. All the roads are the same size. All the alleys are the same size. All the backyards are the same size. And we tend to think that is something that is a modern idea. And you're even taught that is a modern idea. But the reality is that is not, in fact, a modern idea. That is an ancient idea that was pioneered, at least in this part of the world that we are talking about, in Greece. Cookie cutter houses. Yep, I've heard that one before too. Yeah, cookie cutter houses. Yeah. I just like the way clone homes sound because it has that sort of alliterative, sort of sound to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, these two rooms are supposed to be about the same size. So, and they're kind of skinny. So even though this is not supposed to line up with the edge of this house, we're going to go ahead and do that because I think we're kind of restricted in that sense. So yeah, so that's where we're at with this. That's why this is such a cool thing to use, and there's another reason why I like this site, and that is specifically for this, in particular, this whole thing that we're doing right now. It really lends itself to Minecraft because all of the houses, and I mean all of the houses, are square. They're all square. They're all boxy rooms. They don't have any curves to them. They don't sort of stick out in weird ways. They are all just these squares that are divided up. And if you remember the first house you've ever built in Minecraft, when you first started playing the game, it was usually like a dirt hut somewhere. And that, oh, check that out. The house is off on that. Anyways, it was like these dirt huts, and the dirt hut was usually square, rectangular. And that is sort of the way that these are all built. So it looks like there is a room that kind of comes off this way. There's a lot of damage to this side of the settlement. This whole like chunk back here along this edge is really sort of messed up, so it's hard to sort of narrow it down. Do we know the purpose behind Olynthos? It was just a settlement. It was a town, but it was just sort of a planned town rather than just a. I mean, people lived in the area, right? But it was one of those things where we think it was just sort of decided like we're going to start building this particular way. So that's, you know, that was sort of the purpose of the town, was to build in a specific way, I think. There's a lot of research on Olynthos, and what I wanted to do when going into this series, into this sort of experiment, is not do a lot of research on Olynthos. I wanted to just go off of the floor plans, without sort of having any kind of outside knowledge, outside of what I've learned about it in schooling and stuff like that, but just going off of the floor plans. To sort of see what we could figure out. And other people have done some research on Olynthos after I've started this series, and it, you know, they've discovered a lot of really cool things. So then there's this big opening, not that big, but yeah, and then you got this. But it looks like this is actually a courtyard for a much larger house. So this house starts and then continues going that way. Unless... Nope. No, this is... Wait. I screwed up here. What did I do? No, that's right. No, that's not right. Hold on. These, there's something off about this right here, because that's not what it looks like it on the paper. I think what we'll do is we'll actually do like what we were going to do, which is that. We're going to do that. This. Yeah, that looks much better. That looks much better. So it's possible that this here is just one house, and then this is the rest of the big house. I don't really know. Lived in a cookie cutter for a minute. It was not efficiently made. All bad art and zero form. Yeah, but it did have windows large enough to escape from in the back for emergencies. Oh, wow. All right. Actually, interestingly built, yeah. Ancient Mesopotamian houses are very similar. Floor plans that look like they are made for Minecraft. Oh yeah, I remember you did one. You did. Oh, what was that? What was the house that you did? I know what house you did because I remember thinking the exact same thing when I saw the floor plan, and then you know, of course, your computer spies on you, so it knew I was looking at the floor plans. And the next time I logged into YouTube, I was already following you at the time. That was one of the videos that was suggested, was the one where you made that house. And I thought, oh, sneaky YouTube. Yeah, I remember that. That was, yeah, it's an interesting house. All right, do that. There we go. Yeah, that looks more like what we're doing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to turn this map because I'm trying to translate this shape 90 degrees and it's driving me crazy. There we go. Okay, now it's much easier. Yeah, and it was funny too, because I was actually, it's funny you mentioned that house, because when I'd seen the floor plan, I was like, oh, I should do that in Minecraft. And then yeah, when I logged on and I saw you did it, I was like, well, there goes that idea. But you did like a double wall, if I remember right. Like an outer wall, like this outer wall was one color, and then you did an inner wall or something like that, right? I'm trying to remember correctly. I think that's what happened. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And this is actually an andron right here. You can tell on the map. Well, I can tell on the map that I'm looking at, because it's got the little raised bench that goes around the outside edge there. Okay, so then we got another room that comes off this way. Like that, like this. It's a little bit skinnier. And this, okay, now I gotta switch maps, because now I'm into the second map here. This one is the edge of the house. This is the edge of the house. So we come this way, and it should line up with the middle of that house on that block. Let's see here. Yes, if I come off of this right here, I should hit the hallway, right? Let's see. Oh, look at that, right down the middle. Okay. It's funny. Having worked on this for a while, I'm starting to sort of pick up on the layout of these houses subconsciously, so I can actually, you know, think, oh, this should line up with the middle of that hallway, and without seeing that hallway, I, you know, put it here, and then next thing you know, bam, it lines up with the middle of that hallway. I wish there was a way to make this look like water was flowing out of it. I know there's a way, but like, I think if you use glass panes, I think it connects to that wall, doesn't it? Yeah, see, that's bleh, that's gross. I suppose I could always use like some sort of rod. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. Like a end rod? No, end rod is dumb. Could use a chain, but that looks gross. Oh, I guess I could use a lightning rod, but then that's a green. But anyways, if anybody's got any ideas to make this look like water's coming out. Ugh. Anyways, if anybody's got any ideas on how to make this look like water's flowing, that would be great. My frustration with translating historic ancient structures to Minecraft is the block scale. Well, you know what? That's the best part about doing ancient Greek stuff, is that a lot of the walls are like a meter thick anyways. Okay. So let's see here. Where am I at? I am right here. Okay, so then the next room is about the same length as this one. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. And see, very blocky, very, very square. Because here we come off. Here, bam. There you go. And then this comes off here. It comes up this way. Oh boy, this one is sort of split right down the middle. So it's like that. And then this comes off like that. And then does that, and then the rest of this is missing. So we'll see what we can do with this. We don't know what we can do with this. However, there is a distinct line that comes off right here. So basically right here, there's a distinct line that's not a wall. It's actually part of the courtyard, which makes me think that the second story started directly from here going up. But let's look at this. Okay. So, yeah, not bad. And actually, it looks like there might be... this map is so tiny. I don't know why I found the tiniest possible map ever to go off of. But it looks like there might be a pillar right there or something. Something right there. So anyways, that's what we got. That's what we got. Now, I will be completely transparent with you, and this section here, we actually don't have. And same with this. So that's actually what it looks like on my map right here. And, whoops, there is a shaded area right here that suggests that it is a little plaza for the house. So we can do a couple different things. We could, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and just do this, because I think that's, I mean, that's genuinely like a good guess, right? The real question is whether or not this wall is complete, separating this into one skinny little house, or whether this is open like here, like this, watch. Oops. Like that, leading into that area, right? That's the real question. And I don't think that's a question that we can really answer, unfortunately. But what we can do is we can make an inference from the other houses along this row. So the other houses along this row, and the reason why I say that, let me just go ahead and sort of preface this, is that I say that because, again, we're following a layout. This whole place has a plan. This was a planned community. And so we can make some inferences based off of other houses. And I think that's okay. Also, this isn't exactly complete. So yeah. Yeah, see, you were going to use that suggestion of using the other houses. Okay. So yeah, exactly. So every single house along this row, until it starts to get messed up along this backside here, all have a back row of rooms. And so far what we have seen from the rest of the neighborhood is that the back row of rooms are all right about the same size, to the point where you could almost pretty much draw a straight line all the way down, which I did actually in earlier streams. Go ahead and go back and watch them. You'll see that. So what I think we should do is I think we should come off of this building here, because this building here shares the same layout, this back wall of rooms, with this house. And I think we should just continue that. What is the consensus? Let me know what you think while I'm doing this, because I think that's how we should actually go. Let me lay it out real quick. So it would be kind of like that. Now here's the thing. You'll notice this little guy. That little guy is on the map. And it doesn't line up with this, but that could also be because I'm trying to figure out how to lay this out in relation to Minecraft. So I think that's good. I also think that we can assume. Let's go ahead and look at the house next to it. Is it this one? Hold on. Is it this one? Yes. See, I added doors. I added doors that aren't there on the floor plan. And I bet I did that with this one over here too. Yeah, I did. Okay. Well, kinda. Can you enter into... No, you can't. You can only enter into those back rooms through here, right? Yep, there we go. Okay. Okay, I'm remembering. Oh, also, look. Pillar with that wall. Okay, anyways. So, these rooms here don't necessarily have to have separation from each other. We can actually make an entrance and then have it go either way. The other thing this place does a lot is it comes off of walls. So if we were to just come off of walls, we would have a layout like this. Layout maybe like that. Maybe. Okay, what if they seem to like to do the same size rooms? So why don't we just add a wall here, even though it's not there on the plan. Do this. Maybe not. Maybe we just come off of this. Like that. Okay. What if we do this? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I do like this. And in fact, I think something like how do we want to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be an uneven room, right? So we could do something like that, and something like that, and then have what do we think of that? Oh, you know what? We do need a ladder to go up. Oh, what if we do this? What if we just... Here we go. Check this out. What if we have the courtyard continue underneath the second story here? What do we think of that? I actually like that idea a lot, but I don't want to influence your thoughts on this. But what if we did that? Like, what if we went... See, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ugh. This isn't going to line up. 1, 2, bam. 1, 2, bam. 1. Oof. Okay, what if we go 1, 2, bam, and like that, and then it's 4 in between. I mean, I suppose that's all right. Can you guys hear the rooster, by the way? The rooster's like... We have a rooster in our basement. It's kind of funny. I think I'm going to make this house a separate house. Maybe. Because it seems like to have this house be that entire length, we'd have to figure out this section of the house, and it would be a huge house. I think we should just divide it like that, right down the middle. These should be two houses. Oh, you can't hear the rooster? Okay. Well, so the reason why I bring it up is because directly below my feet and off to my right is the basement. And the reason why we have a rooster in the basement is because a raccoon kind of got into stuff and did some really terrible things. And the rooster, like, you know, he tried his best, but his best wasn't good enough, unfortunately. And and his girls got murdered, and so he tried, and so he's all messed up, and so he's staying in the basement right now, getting some healing time in, and we're gonna he goes out to the pen from time to time, but generally speaking, he stays in in the basement. We're gonna do this too. This is gonna be a little hallway, and then you can enter into this room or this room. These are gonna be obviously storage rooms. So anyways, yeah, that's a little story about the rooster in the basement. Even though you can't hear it, I figured you'd be able to hear it because I hear him, and he is like noisy as shit, as roosters are. He's surprisingly very sweet, which is not what I was expecting. He lets people, well, he lets his owner, I'm not his owner, my landlord is his owner, but he lets the landlord pick him up and carry him outside, and he doesn't spur her or anything like that. Yeah, it's really wild. I don't know how she got so lucky with roosters, because the last few roosters she's had have been like that, have been very docile. I mean, if you make like a really fast sudden movement around them, obviously they're not, because they freak out and they immediately go into fight mode. But generally speaking, it's a very docile rooster, which just blows my mind. Hello, Panos. Yeah, I did suggest that next time the raccoon comes around, that my landlord let me permanently take care of it, because I can make it quick and painless, and we'll be done with it. And to be honest, there's enough raccoons around that we don't have to worry about disturbing the ecosystem if we get rid of one. And if we wanted to catch it and release it, maybe, you know, release it all the way on the other side of town. But I don't know. She's not really into that. What was it? Stack? Aha, it was Stack. Okay. Oh, Panos missed the whole story. Yeah, so the whole story is we have a rooster in the basement because a raccoon got to the chickens and messed up the rooster, but he's still alive and needing to recover. And I only asked because I can hear the rooster crowing, and so I didn't know if everyone could hear it or not. So that's legitimately the whole story. Anyways, okay. Let's start putting walls up. Or doorways up, I should say. So there's that. That. I wish there was a command that was something along the lines of like replace air over or next to, you know, whatever, or join, you know, join similar blocks or something like that. I wish there was a command for that. I don't know how you would do it. I have no idea how you would go about doing it, but I think that would be quite useful for people who do a lot of building. You hope the bird is all right? Yeah, the bird's fine. I mean, he's recovering. But he's damaged enough to where if the raccoon comes back, he's done. And so I think, I don't know, I haven't had a good chance to look at him. And so, yeah, I think that's the concern, is the raccoon coming back and messing him up. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I still don't know what to do with this. Maybe something like this? What if we did stairs? I know those of you who have been watching this for a while are going to be like, oh, here he goes again with experimenting with stairs. Because this is something I keep trying to make work. Good enough. I think that's good enough. And then for this opening... I don't know. Maybe we'll see what it looks like with a roof on it. Speaking of roof on it, this single-story house, or this little skinny house, can either be a single-story or a two-story. And I am leaning towards two-story, but only for this room and maybe this room here. With a stairway that comes... Oh, no, that's not going to work. Single story it is. So let's go ahead and slap a roof on this. You like the stairs? Okay, good. I like the stairs too. I think that's what we'll go with. And we will throw on the standard Thuscalos roof. Nope, not right there. Or do we want one right there? No, I feel like this should be open. Or maybe not. Maybe that shouldn't be open. The other thing is, if we do a peaked roof right here, it's gonna allow water to sort of go down here and pool up against this wall. So, let's just see what it looks like. What if we do a slant roof? Let's try a slant roof. If we do a slant roof, it needs to be like... And this is a really shallow slant that we're gonna do. In fact, can we do really shallow slant? What does this look like? Oh no, that's not going to work. It would have to be like that. Yeah, slab, stair, slab, slab, stair is usually what I do. That's my go-to. But what if we... What if we do this? What if we go slab, slab, stair, slab? Oh my god. Why am I having a hard time with this? It needs to be like this. Slab, stair, slab, slab, stair. Yeah, that's how it's going to have to be. I just don't like the way that this sort of stops, because, I mean, like, I could continue it like this and have a little bit of an overhang. Okay, yeah, maybe I do that. It doesn't look too bad. So this is almost kind of like a behind the scenes of how I do this too, I've noticed. Actually, I thought about, so the original video I was going to do this weekend was not Olynthos. I was actually planning on doing a different video, completely different video, live video though, another live stream, where it was in fact a behind the scenes look at how I'm going to be planning another tutorial. Because I realized the other day that, you know, I do a lot of planning when it comes to doing these tutorials. With exception to Olynthos, for some reason, I just sort of jumped right on in. With exception to, I did a little bit of planning when it came to, like the layout of the house, the floor plan, or the measurements, because it didn't translate exactly into, Minecraft at all. It was actually pretty terrible translation into Minecraft. Oops. That's right, we'll get that here in a second. So, like, if you look at the floor plans, I think these houses, these little cookie cutter clone home houses, are 20 by 20, I think. But I believe the actual measurement is something like 17 by 17 or 18 by 18, something like that. And it didn't translate very well, so I had to do a little bit of messing around with it. I think, too, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do... So anyways, I was going to do... Oh, that doesn't work. I was going to do a sort of a behind-the-scenes tutorial about, you know, how I do tutorials, I guess. I guess that's a good way of putting it. Because there was a suggestion. What? Yeah, that does, this does look like a face from above. Also that too. I ended up not doing it. Obviously, because you're here now and we're doing this instead. But it came about because there was a comment asking if I would do a marketplace in Minecraft, like an ancient Greek marketplace. And I thought that was a really good idea. And so, what if I just do that? No, there is a... Hold on, that is open, right? That's the doorway? Aha, it is not. This is actually missing. It's this one. So we could actually do something like this and something like this. No. See that? That suggests that there was some sort of wall or something here. Perhaps this was covered all the way across. Like this. Let's see what this looks like. Anyways, so I really liked that idea. And if you know anything about me and sort of how I do these builds and stuff in Minecraft, I really like functional and practical. I'm actually a very practical person. I look at the practical applications of things and think about the practical applications of things. In fact, in archaeology, it's called processualism, which is the sort of idea that things have a process, often a practical process that they follow. And I'm definitely a processualist, 100%. I believe that things happened because, you know, there was a practical application for those things to begin that way, and that over time, attributes were added to those things. You know, rituals, in my opinion, started because whatever, right? So, yeah. So I'm definitely a processualist when it comes to archaeology, and some people don't like that. Some people think processualism is archaic, but I don't know. I'm again a very practical person. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I like that because obviously this sticks out here. So there's obviously it was supporting something. Do I want to continue this wall this way? I don't think I do. Yeah, because it doesn't actually continue this way. So I think we're gonna leave it. I do think we're gonna again try to do some stairs. Looks like shit. Okay. What if we did it like up here instead? Okay, that doesn't look too bad. This just looks way too squatty. So we do something like that. Something like that, and we fill in what we just accidentally broke. Yeah, that actually looks a lot better. I like that. And maybe we continue this out this way? Yes. Maybe we do that, so that's a pair of double doors that you walk in through here. I think that looks good. You like practical and beautiful things like teacups. What do they call that in archaeology? Practical and beautiful things? Like the idea of practical, but also sort of something that's artistic? That's a good question. I don't know if there is an actual term to denote, you know, decoration, you know, decorating something. Humans have done that for a long time. Humans really like decorating things, really like artwork. And so I'm just going to do that. And so, you know, they've always have decorated things. That's, I mean, you could almost say that that is sort of a marker of humans. We know Neanderthals also did that, also did art, but they are, you know, the Homo genus anyways, and so we can say that that's sort of, we could assume that that's kind of a marker of the Homo genus, I think. If it were me, that's what I would say. Okay, so I like that. It's different. It's very different. I think we should put a window that looks out onto that road. And actually, you know what we should do? Maybe we put a door here too. So another sort of entrance to get in. That'd be nice. And then for this one, maybe we do a window here too. It sort of looks out. Yeah, that's nice. I think that's nice. There we go. Yeah. They're called tumulus, you think? Tumulus is, I mean, no. I mean, I know what a tumulus is. Trust me. if you knew my advisor, you would know that I know what a tumulus is. A tumulus, describing a tumulus as a teacup-shaped building is, I don't think, accurate. At least I wouldn't call it accurate. A tumulus is a mound. Just a mound. And it usually is monumental in nature. So it's a monument to something, right? It also is a lot of times associated with burials. Burials usually are tumuli. Oh, if I say oak slabs, they're all going to be bottom ones, aren't they? Ugh. All right, I guess I do this by hand. So saying a tumulus is teacup shaped, I mean, I guess so, because, you know, if you turn a teacup upside down, it's basically just a mound. But I think it's a little more complicated than that when it comes to tumuli. I was under the impression the question was, you know, a teacup is a practical device for, you know, holding liquids, right? It's a cup with a handle on it. And it's often decorated, and so therefore, what is a teacup, right? What would you call something like that? Something that was practical, an object that was practical, that also was decorated. I don't know. I might be interpreting that question incorrectly. Let me know if I'm interpreting that question incorrectly. And I'm sure there is a term for a practical object that has been decorated. Because if you know anything about archaeologists, these people love smelling their own farts and making up all kinds of new language. In fact, if you take any archaeology theory class, and it's more than just archaeology theory too, it's also any kind of anthropology theory. Pretty much any anthropology theory is basically reading a bunch of papers where people just make up new terms for things, or they try to make reinvent terms for things that already exist. It's crazy, and it's really obnoxious. Okay, so I think we can put stairs here going up. I think that's a good sort of use of this. Sometimes I wish Mojang actually watched my videos, because they would hear me complain about that particular thing there, where when I add a block to my inventory, it should be, when you get out of your inventory, the block that you have currently selected in your hotbar, because that shit just makes sense to me. And it's really annoying that it's not that way. Like, who thought, oh yeah, no, they don't need to have their hotbar reflect literally the thing that they were just doing. God, come on, man. Think about it. I feel like I'm that dude in that meme where he's got like the wall of pictures with all the lines, you know, going everywhere, and he's got a cigarette in his hand, he's pointing at it, and he's kind of like, you know, the conspiracy theory thing. I feel like that sometimes when I'm talking about that. Because it just makes sense. Like, why would you add a block to your inventory and then not want to immediately use that block? Right? Am I going crazy? Or am I, does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense. Okay. Enough ranting. Oh boy, here we go. Examples of beautiful and practical things. Teapots, keeps a large portion of flavored water hot. Shoes. Okay, yeah, I guess so. Victorian houses being redone on Main. They are giving them historic paint jobs and all the rooms have a purpose. Yeah. I guess, I don't know. Okay, yeah. So I guess I must have misinterpreted the question, because the question I thought of was is there a word for things that have a practical use but also were decorated? That was sort of how I interpreted that. I guess I interpreted that incorrectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ugh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we do this for a peaked roof, right? Then that means... Okay. Let's see what this looks like. So slab, oops, stair, slab, slab. Oh, actually, that might actually work. Stair. And then this would be slab. Actually, hold on. Whoop. Stair. There we go. So then this one would be slab, stair, slab, slab, stair. That actually works out fairly well. And then this one, that does not work out fairly well. Oh, yes, it does. So then I could just do this. There we go. And then if I do this, look at that. Or how about I just make this one really big room and one sort of skinny little closet. Yeah, that's nice. Or even so you come in here and you go this way, you go this way. Sure. Or nope. We're gonna quit. We're gonna quit doing that while we're doing that. Whoa, still a lot of stuff. Pillows, being comfortable is practical, and they should be nice colors and shapes. Dishware, there's no reason it shouldn't be pretty. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I was interpreting it correctly. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Let's slap a roof on this chunk here. Okay, so we do that. And then we do this. Oh my god, this, there we go. And this. do this, and we do this. And then we do the exact same thing over here. Or bam, or bam, 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 bam. Just like that. We do that, we do that. Go there, we go here. Stop it. There we go. Oh, so anyways, yeah, I was, and I will be doing this in the future. I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make, or how to rebuild a sort of stock Minecraft village to be basically a city-state. So I might even use that term. And then that way we can talk about how ancient cities, ancient Greek cities were formed, sort of how, like, you know, the whole, the Acropolis, and then the Cora and all that stuff, and then like farm fields and things. But basically the general premise would be you found like, let's say a plains village, right? And the plains village just happened to be really close to a, I don't know, a mountain somewhere. Oof. How am I going to do this? And you wanted to make the village and mountain sort of an ancient Greek settlement with an Acropolis. How would you do that? That's kind of the basic premise, right? And I think it's a cool premise. I think it's something that we can 100% do and really sort of pursue. And I think it would make really cool content. And I think it would also follow my general rule of making stuff that is practical and functional, practical, but also aesthetically pleasing as well. So yeah, that's what I think we're going to do. Card or board games impractical and beautiful? Well, no, now, hold on. No, board games are not practical. Think about it. Board games, I mean, yeah, you can make something beautiful, but it's not a practical item. At least I wouldn't consider recreational items to be practical. Practical means they serve some sort of purpose for survival or, you know, like something of that nature. You know, some sort of basic means of survival. Board games, I don't think would be, I mean, keeping you from being bored is not, in my opinion, a sort of a practical thing. Yeah, I think that looks good. There's also a little alley here on the side, so I think we can do a peaked roof here. And I think because these rooms are both the same size, we can actually do a peaked roof. Yeah. I think that's where I'm going to have to disagree with you, Panos. I don't see recreation as practical. I know, I understand what you're saying, but you don't need a board game to survive. That's just me. Is it nice to have? Absolutely. Does it serve a function? Yes, because it brings people together. But I feel like it isn't the same as something like campfire, right? A campfire does bring people together. It brings people together as well, but it's also got a practical application. You know what? Actually, we're not gonna do it peaked like that. What am I thinking? We're gonna do an L peak like we've done before. And that's the whole thing about archaeological theory too, is that this conversation that we are quite literally having right here, right now, about what is considered practical, would be some archaeologist, archaeology theorist's wet dream to write a paper about. I get frustrated with archaeologists sometimes if you can't tell, but I feel like that's sort of a common thing, that people get frustrated with a lot of other people in their profession. You know, like I worked as a motorcycle mechanic for a long time, and I would get really frustrated with other motorcycle mechanics because they would do dumb shit, and they would do like things that were, you know, quick fixes and stuff like that. And it's funny because I would also do quick fixes. So it's sort of like hypocritical that I would get upset that, you know, some mechanic would like, oh, that's not how you're supposed to fix that. And then I would immediately go and do something very similar on another job. And I'm sure some other mechanic somewhere would see the work that I did and be like, why would you do that? So like, you know, I think that's sort of a normal thing for people to get frustrated with other people in their profession. I'm going to do a little overhang right here. I think that looks good like that. I also think I'm going to do sort of the same thing here. I'm going to go like that, like that, like that, that. What does this slab look like across there? Not good. Whole block? Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. Oh boy. Google says it's functional art. Okay. Hello, shiny object. Welcome. So would you consider storytelling impractical then? Ooh. See? Again, that's the sort of question that archaeological theorists would love to debate. I think storytelling is a practical thing because it is the dissemination of information. And that information may be useful for survival. So yes, I do think storytelling is practical. Or, no, I don't think it's impractical. But I think there's a big difference between storytelling and board games. And again, this is all very you know, archaeology theory heavy. I went up too high. I went up too high, didn't I? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. I went up a little too high on that one. There's actually an archaeological theory paper that I read that was actually making fun of archaeological theorists who had never been out in the field and didn't actually apply their theories in the field, and it was pretty good. And it was a lot of the same complaints that I had about you know, archaeologists who like to just sit around and come up with theory. Oop. And then we go like this, because we're going to make another L-shaped roof. Yeah. But stories can also be art. Yeah, we're not arguing that that's not an art form. The idea was the question was whether or not there was a word for decorating practical objects, or I guess everyday objects, because there's no real function to decorating something. Again, at least that's how I interpreted it. So was there a term that archaeologists used to describe something that had been decorated when the decoration didn't serve its own function? And yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could always default to saying ritual, and I know that's sort of a funny joke about, you know, oh, that's just what archaeologists say when they don't know. But really, it is different than ritual that you think of when somebody uses the word ritual. When somebody uses the word ritual, a lot of people immediately default to thinking religious. And that is not the way, and I mean, I realize that that's how the way that word has been used in common speech, which is another issue. Another huge issue is, you know, people abusing scientific terms and confusing them with the casual use of the term, which I can get into that all day long. I'm not going to, because I want to stay monetized, and I don't want to be branded as like a hate channel, because there is a huge problem, especially in America, with people who misuse scientific labels to further their agenda. And if you think I'm talking about the people that do that you don't disagree with, I'm also talking about the people you agree with. They do it too. And it's really frustrating when you hear people use terms like theory to mean hypothesis, especially when they say something like, oh yeah, but, you know, you say something like the theory of whatever, and it's a scientific theory, and they'll say, well, yeah, but that's just a theory. It's like, well, yeah, but that's not the way that word is used in science. The way that word is used in science is different than the way that we use that word casually and in regular sort of casual speech. And I think there's a huge problem nowadays with people doing that. And I think they do it a lot to further agendas, 100%, without any hesitation. I think that's a big issue, is that they do that to further agendas. Yeah, I still don't agree that board games are practical. And again, I don't think that you know, you are wrong. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, because it's something that you can absolutely 100% make arguments for. but I can also make arguments against, and so I don't think that continuing that discussion is healthy. So yeah, I'm not convinced. Not convinced. This looks really empty. Can I just do, let's see, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's not gonna work. Oh, wait, I already had this problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we do that. Looks like shit. Okay. This is too big of a gap to leave open. So we're just gonna do this. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, slap some doors on this, call it good. Oh, actually, we also need to throw some torches. Oops. Ooh. Ooh. This has the open window, so we'll just slap a torch there. Torch there. That. Once we finish this, we will do a hydration break. Then we'll play my favorite game for this part of the stream. Okay. Can we just slap a window? Yes, we can slap a window there. That works. I swear one of these days, one of my instructors is going to stumble upon my channel and watch a video where I talk shit about certain aspects of archaeology that I don't like, and they're going to be very offended by it. They're going to be like, that's not the way it is. Oh, you know what? This is actually an andron. So we need to close this off because this is a private room. There we go. This we can leave open though. And we'll do this. There's that. So that section is done. We've got these rooms here. Let's slap a torch down. This room, you know what? Let's leave this room sort of big and open. So it's a bigger open, more, I almost said opener. A bigger, more open space. Holy crap. Opener? Why would I say that? Okay, there's that. I suppose I could have put the stairs underneath here. Let's see what that looks like, actually. So let's say you walk in here and you want to walk up. Let's start here, here. Oh my god. Here, here, there. No, don't like it. I think the outside stairs works better than these inside ones. I think this is still a good sort of hangout spot underneath the floor, sort of overlooking this courtyard. By the way, I also built one of these houses in Blender and then imported it into Unity and then just sort of hung out in it. And I gotta say, it didn't need much to grow on me, but I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. The courtyards are a little small, in my opinion. A lot of the courtyards, this one definitely isn't, but some of these other houses over here, they have sort of smaller courtyards than this. So I kind of didn't like that. But generally speaking, yeah, I really did I liked the house a lot, and I spent a good amount of time in it in the simulation, just sort of hanging out, and I really liked it. Okay, so what do we think of this? How do we like this? Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff in the chat. Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, these are all good arguments. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you shouldn't have started a debate without asking first. No. I'm all about it. That's not a debate. I don't really think it's, I don't consider it a debate. I'm not saying that, like, I just now realized how that sounds. This isn't a debate. No, what I mean to say by that is, like, we're not debating whether or not, like, this isn't something where there is a definite right or wrong. So that's kind of why I wouldn't consider it a debate. But I realize now how that just sounded when I said this isn't a debate. Yeah, I think, oh, what if I did slabs? No, I think it's a good discussion where we are exploring sort of what makes something practical. And that is absolutely 100% the type of, oh, that's why I didn't do it. Ugh. Okay, what if I did that instead? Two of them. Which one do we like better? The one in the back or the one in the front? I mean, I'm leaning more towards the one in the front. What happens if we slap a slab right there? Nope. I'm definitely leaning towards the one in the front. You just got kicked from YouTube. Whoa. Well, I can guarantee you that was not me kicking you, so I'm not really sure what happened there. What if we did this? Does that look any better? Not really. What about... I'm gonna try my best to make this work. What about... Wait, what the fuck? No. This? Okay, what if we did that, that, and that? Okay, that one's not too bad. Can we try that right here? Because we're already almost halfway there with it. We do that. We do that. That and that. And we take these guys out. Put that back. What do we think of that? I think that looks like shit too. I don't know if I will ever get this whole stairs thing down. I think I'm just doomed to always, like, want it to work and never liking anything that comes out of it. I think, yeah, I really think that I'm sort of doomed. Doomed. I think we're just gonna go with that. I think we're just gonna go with that. Oh. All right, Panos, we'll see you. Ah, the phone app is updating. Okay. Okay, so I think this house is done, and the other house, surprisingly. And you know what? While I'm here, I think one thing we should do is sort of do this, sort of break down these just a little bit. Oops, and sort of do the same thing, right? So I think this should have some sort of, even though they didn't do arches in Greece, I think that does not look any better. Why does that not look any better? Is it because of that? It is because of that. I just did that. Okay, that's better. That's better. It's a little more, what we call gracile, where it's a little thinner. I like that a little bit better. Okay. So we completed both. Almost completed both. This needs doors. Now we've completed both. All right, so we've got the little skinny house. We got this little house here, or bigger house here, which is bigger than some of these. I think that's good for right now. So I think what we should do is we should take a break. I think we should take a bit of a hydration break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to take Olynthos off of the screen. So there you go. And I'm going to pop up the hydrate picture, the little guy fishing with the hiding octopus there underneath the rock. And I'm going to hydrate. So we'll see you back in, I don't know, 30 seconds to 2 minutes. We'll see what happens. Okay. You know, I really should ask Zinc how he does those transitions on his live streams, because I really like those. I need to learn how to do that so I can have these really nice, smooth transitions with music in the background and stuff. And he's been very forthcoming with how he's done things. So that's really nice, and I appreciate him doing that. Okay. So you wonder if this house was designed like a mother-in-law quarters, and you don't know if they did duplexes, extended family, stuff like that. Okay, so funny thing about that, I don't know about the classical or Hellenistic era, but I do know about the Bronze Age, and they did do that in the Bronze Age. We actually see that in the Middle Bronze Age? Yeah, in the Middle Bronze Age. Or was that the early Bronze Age? Anyways, there was a chunk of time where they would do that. They would actually add on to houses. They would add like yards, but they would also add storage rooms to the houses. And we can see that because of the construction and all that. A whole bunch of reasons why we can see that. But anyways, let's go ahead and work on the next house in this. It also looks like its own standalone. Oh, music is a bit loud. Oh, it is still a little loud. What the hell? Hold on. Why is it still a little loud? Not that far down. There we go. Okay. How does that sound? That should be much lower now. That was really weird. It must have been a really low part of the music when I came back on and turned it down, because it wasn't turned down as far as it needed to be. Oh wow. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff, but anyways. Oh, you came to me from Milo's video. Yeah, good. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I also appreciate the fact that you're not one of his overly rabid fans who decided to you know, be an absolute asshole towards me because I disagreed with the man. Well, I didn't disagree with the man. He was doing bad things and he knew better. So I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, so we are at that part of the stream, my favorite part of the stream, which is it beer or is it soda? I have a can in front of me of a beverage that I'm going to open up. The time right now is currently about 10 till 2 in the afternoon here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So is it a beer or is it a soda? Oh man, you will never know. Oh, that's good too. That is really good. Okay, so funny thing about this little alley, it has this front wall here. So that suggests to me that it was open on this end, or even open right here into this house. But I am going to leave it open on this end because this is the main street, and I think that maybe this might have been, I don't know, storage or something. So this house that we're about to build right now is just a tiny bit thinner than your standard house. And when I say standard house, I mean these guys over here. Yeah, he did recant on what I called him out on because he's an archaeologist and and like I said, he knew better. And we actually, it's funny, we had a really long chat before he made that video. He wanted to talk for like whatever, a certain amount of time, and we ended up talking for like an hour and a half, just kind of BSing about, you know, making educational content and stuff like that. And great dude, really great dude. I really appreciated everything that we talked about. And just overall, you know, just a pretty stand-up guy. I might have made a mistake here in this map. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. We're good. We are still good. Okay. I did panic there for a little bit. I do believe that this wall comes off of here. It might come off of here, so we'll see. But it comes back quite a ways, actually. And then there's a gap, about a 4 wide gap. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it comes this way. It is a 5 by 5 room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In fact, funny thing about the whole Milo Rossi talk that we had, is that he wanted to do, well, you saw he did some new stuff where he actually talked to experts in the field on certain things. And he wanted to do something on Chaco. And he immediately thought of me. And I said, yeah, man, I'll happily do that. And so he sent me the script. I had suggested a bunch of corrections, and then what ended up happening was, you know, things kept coming up. My season was getting close to ending, and then my season ended at Chaco, and so we had to put a hold on that. But it is definitely, I assume it is still definitely in the cards at some point that he's going to want to do that, because he was very interested in it, and the research that he did was pretty good. There were some things that were old info. There was some old info there that was not correct, but generally speaking, yes, it was all very good stuff. And he did a great job with the research, or his team did a really great job with the research, I should say. Because he doesn't just do it alone. He actually has a team that helps him, which I think is the right way to do it. Because you can't always trust yourself. You have inherent biases always. And you do have to sort of admit your biases to yourself when you do things, and that's really hard to do. That's really, really hard to do. I do it all the time, and when I say I do it all the time, I mean I have biases all the time, and I just sort of just go with it anyways. But yeah, I think that I think he did a great job though. This room is too big. This room actually needs to come off right here. I think this whole thing is a little too big. And then this line needs to keep coming this way. And this comes out. Anyways, that was all one big long story to say that I really look forward to working with him in the future, because I think he's doing a good job. I do think he's doing a good job. Oof. I need to make these smaller. So I came in by 2. So let's come in by 2. Is that a square room? No, but that's okay. Let's see how this goes. That actually might be better. Okay, how does that look? Does that look like my map? I don't know why I'm asking you. I'm the one that's looking at my map. Yes, but this actually needs to be offset like that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so then what we need to do, by the way, this also has a little bit of a lip. Okay. We need to figure out, again, these back rooms. The back rooms here are not there. And same thing with this. This room is also sort of basically from about here to here and back. It's all sort of hypothetical. Which, you know, that's not fun. But let's assume that this is the courtyard right here instead of this. And we can assume this is part of a courtyard, but we'll assume that this is the bigger part of the courtyard. So then these here, these are rooms then. So what do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Why don't we just do that? I feel that's a good guess because, again, these people are sticking to a fairly straightforward and symmetrical design. Perseverance says beer. Otis says soda. Ooh, it didn't have a long fish sound, so beer. Milo guy seems cool. Haven't seen any of his stuff. Look, okay, yeah, his channel. Yep. So there you go, Mini Minuteman. Yeah. What do you think about the new Odyssey movie? I have not seen it. Look, I'm a Homer fanboy. Okay, 100% Homer fanboy. The things I've seen regarding that movie really make me not want to see it. Here's my biggest problem with anytime anyone gets upset with the movie not being historically accurate is the usual comeback is, oh, it's a story about gods and monsters. It's not history. It's not historical fact. It's a heavily mythologized oral tradition, okay? There are things that happen in the Odyssey and in the Iliad that Homer would have no knowledge about during his time period, which means that this was a story that was formed in the Bronze Age and passed down orally through the generations. The historicity argument is that because this was a story set in a real place, that it should be historically accurate. And I 100% agree with that. You should keep the mythological elements too, because that's part of the story. But it should be like someone is retelling that story of the Bronze Age. You should not be slapping classical armor on people to retell that story. The other issue is that you get a lot of people who point to, oh, this doesn't have a door? You have a lot of people that point to the fact that, oh, well, there's depictions of, you know, Odysseus, and there's depictions of this and depictions of that. Well, yeah, we have vase paintings that were painted a long time later. We also have vase paintings of the Trojan War during the Renaissance, where where the Greeks were wearing plate armor. So, like, you can't go off of that. Here's the thing. The Iliad and Odyssey, yeah, exactly. We're about to jump into that discussion. I'm trying to decide if I even want to get into this. The Iliad and Odyssey is the only canon that you should be following. You should not be following any of the plays that came around during the classical period, because that's all fan fiction. Full stop. That's all fan fiction. It would be like 1,000 years from now, people looking back at Harry Potter, only having 2 of the books in the series, but reading a whole bunch of fan fiction and trying to fill in the blanks. It just doesn't work, right? Because the fan fiction is fan fiction. It's a product of people's imagination. And yes, the Iliad and Odyssey is also a product of people's imagination, but it is something that has been added to. The fantastical elements and the anachronistic elements were added to after the fact, but there was a base story that was formed in the Bronze Age that was passed down, and through the generational game of telephone became the Iliad and the Odyssey. And the issue is that people can't seem to differentiate between the fan fiction of later and the fantastical elements of the Iliad and Odyssey, and that's how they come up with their stupid fucking arguments about, like, oh, well, you shouldn't be so upset about it because, you know, it's a fantasy story, it's a myth. A really good example of that, and I've used this example a bunch of times, is the ancestral Puebloan emergence myth. The ancestral Puebloans talk about how their people came over from what they called the third world into the fourth world, and the fourth world is here and now. And they describe this journey that they made, where they journeyed from a place that was really cold and dark, and then they came to a place that was warm and sunny, and they continued on their journey till they found the spot that they were supposed to end. And when you look at it as a story, right, it's got all these weird mythologized elements. They followed a spider god up its web or up a ladder to get into the next world. They emerged from the navel of the world into this world and stuff like that. But when you sit down and really, really look at it from an archaeological perspective, you come to the realization that what they are describing is the immigration of the first people to come to the New World across the land bridge. It has a lot of the same elements, and people tend to dismiss their emergence story because it has the fantastical elements, and you can't do that. That's not the right thing to do. So when we talk about the Iliad and Odyssey, and we talk about, you know, it being historical, we have all the historical elements. They're just buried in the mythology. Okay, so you ask me my opinion on the Odyssey movie, and my opinion is I'm not happy about it from what I've seen so far, but I am going to reserve judgment until I've actually seen the movie. I think if the, how do I want to put this? I think if the feeling is right, I think we're good. I think we're okay. The fantastical elements can be sort of explained away as a part of storytelling. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold my breath, because I think that there were some decisions that were made regarding the story that I don't agree with. I don't agree with at all. I think they were really dumb decisions. The biggest one that I saw that really upset me was there was a scene. There was a picture of Helen, which I'm not going to get into the casting choices on that, but there was a picture of Helen and she had scars on her face, and it was heavily suggested in the trailer that someone scarred her face or whatever. And I think that was stupid. Also, Christopher Nolan said that he followed Emily Wilson's translation, which I'm 100% on board with, because I like her translation and I like the decisions that she made. And people tended to, for some reason, think that it was some sort of weird feminist ideology in that translation, when really what it was sort of an anti-misogynist way of looking at it. Because if you've actually read the original text, like I have, and have translated the original text, there were a lot of decisions that were made regarding translations and interpretations of what things meant that was just absolutely insane. That was not even there. People literally made up stuff and added it to the Odyssey in their translation. And it was a lot of older white men in the early 1900s, late 1800s doing these translations. And so a lot of their biases crept through. And they talk about some things that I can't talk about on YouTube if I want to stay monetized, that just was not in the book. And so I like the fact that she looked at the Iliad and the Odyssey and said, no, said, nah, that's not how this is going to go down. That's not how these people would have acted. And I wholeheartedly 100% agree with that decision. So there you go. That is sort of the short and dirty version of it. I'm not looking forward to seeing the movie. I'm going to watch it because it's the Odyssey, and I can't not watch it. But I'm going to really struggle with the fact that it's Hollywood. What the? I'm going to really struggle with the fact that it's Hollywood doing Hollywood bullshit. Yeah. So, there you have it. There is my take on... Oh, holy shit. Why did that do that? Oh, because that was included in the... There we go. Yeah, that's sort of my issue. You can agree or disagree all you want, but to criticize anyone who criticizes the casting or the costuming because, and I'm quoting here, it's just a myth, that is the wrong answer. That is 100% the wrong way to look at it. And if you think that way, I hate to tell you this, but you are absolutely 100% wrong. If you think that, if you think that, well, it's a myth, you can do whatever you want with it. No, it's not. It isn't historically accurate, the story itself, but it has a level of historicity in it that needs to be respected, especially when it is a story about a certain time frame. And to give you an idea, okay, I'll take it to the most ridiculous ends that I can think of. Okay, so the Odyssey as we know it, the Odyssey was a product of the 7th century, 7th or 8th century, okay? The actual event that inspired the Odyssey happened anywhere between 1250 to 1150-ish, roughly, depending on which one you go with, whether it's Troy 6 or Troy 7. So that's your time period, okay? So between the 13th and 12th century to the 8th or 7th century. So even if we look at the shortest amount of time, right, the 12th to the 8th century is 400 years. 400 years. I want you to imagine that we are doing a documentary on, let's see. Let's go with wow, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened in the 1600s, but nothing that really comes to mind that would be interesting. Let's say, oh man, what is a good, well, let's do it in reverse. Let's say you're doing a documentary, or you're doing a film about the Vietnam War. And in that film, everyone is wearing, or looks like they just stepped out of a Renaissance painting and are using swords and shields to fight that war, and muzzle loaders to fight the Vietnam War. How stupid does that sound? That sounds absolutely retarded. And that's what you're pretty much doing, just in reverse, with setting the Trojan War in the classical period. And that's totally what you're doing. And even then, the armor that he uses is garbage anyways, even for classical period. It's all drab. And anyways, I'm not gonna get too far into it because, again, I haven't seen it. I'm just going off of what I've seen in the pictures and the trailers. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. But I will definitely watch it, and I might give my opinion on it if I don't think that I'm going to tear into it too much. If I'm going to tear into it too much, I might not do it. Because I tell you, I get really tired of talking about certain things and having people just repeat weird, like, talking points that they read online from somebody who doesn't know anything. And it's tiring. It's just exhausting dealing with that, especially when you're somebody who is actively pursuing a specialization in that field, you know? And then it's even more frustrating when you have people who are classicists, who have, you know, studied ancient Greece and decide to put in their 2 cents, and their 2 cents is those same talking points. Or they make really dumb observations like, oh, well, in this play it says this, so therefore that must be canon. Well, no, that was a play that was put on hundreds of years later. And when I'm talking about the classical period, I'm talking about 5th century. So that's 700 years later, right? That's crazy. That would be like making a movie about the Crusades, one of the Crusades, and having everybody dressed as, like, I don't know, let's see here. Yeah, dressed as pirates. Like, what? No. Or like a Western, a crusade, but it's a Western. Actually, that sounds really cool now that I think about it. the Crusade, but retold as a Western. That actually sounds really cool. But see, that's so ridiculous. And it's so sort of out there that it sounds cool because it's a cool concept. Kind of like, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That, which is basically the Odyssey. It's a retelling of the Odyssey. And because it's a retelling of the Odyssey, it works. Because it's an inventive way of doing it. They take it to an extreme. But this, you know, the fact that he has ancient Greek armor, but it's the wrong time period, suggests that he's trying to make it an ancient Greek movie, right? But he's got the wrong time period, and even then, the armor doesn't match. Armor doesn't look like that. It just has some general design elements that are similar, but highly stylized. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a classicist to see stuff like that. To see stuff like that and then to have people defend it. It's just, it's unacceptable. But again, that is just my opinion after seeing the trailers and pictures, not seeing the actual movie. But I will see the movie. Probably after I go and see Spider-Man, because I'd rather see that now than than the Odyssey. All right, so how are we going to do the roof for this section here? I'm actually thinking about doing a slanted roof, but I don't know. I don't know. See, these little things that stick out tell me that it was this. Like that, right? Because you don't have these things unless it's supporting something like a roof. Same here. So I'm gonna do that. That's a given. So let's slap a roof on here real quick and see what that would look like. Same here. Actually, we can curve this, can't we? Yeah, let's curve that. That works. So there's my little mini rant. Sorry you asked me about it, but I just dread, like, if I do that, I'm turning the comments off. Because I just don't want to see them. I don't want to see the comments of people telling me I'm wrong because of a really dumb reason that is not a good reason. Not to say that I don't like being told that I'm wrong. I mean, nobody likes being told that they're wrong, but not to say that I'm not willing to admit that I'm wrong on something. But you know, if I say, well, 1 + 1 = 2, and you say, well, yeah, but when you have two people that get together, they sometimes make a third, so therefore you're wrong. Like, that's a stupid argument and not anything based in reality. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about people coming onto the channel and saying, well, you're wrong because, you know, they saw someone who said this and therefore they just took them at their word. And we all know people do that. People do that all the time. That's one of the most frustrating things about the whole Minecraft lore stuff, is that a lot of people see these videos about Minecraft lore and then they just take them as though that person is an expert at it. And yeah, they have, the person who is talking about it has zero skin in the game, or they're using bad science to back up their theories, and next thing you know, people are then using their bad science backed theories to argue against something that I'm using science for. Watched a version of King Lear retold as a Western. Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds really cool. I heard there was that movie called Ran, I think it's called R-A-N, Ran, and it was King Lear, but it was an old samurai movie. Which that always, I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea. Okay. Here I go again with the stairs. Let's see if we can do this right. I mean, it's all right. You know, I just don't think I'm gonna ever, I don't know. It also doubly hurts because, again, I've read parts of the Iliad and the Odyssey and done translations on it and have seen how some translations are absolutely 100% incorrect. So having anybody sort of defend certain translations as being correct is just crazy to me. And that's also why I like, again, why I like the Emily Wilson one, because she looked at the original text and said, that's not what was said. That's not what those words mean. And then for some reason, because she didn't like the fact that you had a bunch of misogynists who were translating it, and she decided not to translate it with misogynist overtones. For some reason, that made her a feminist and woke, I guess. I don't know. It was very strange. Very, very strange way of thinking about it. I don't get that. Maybe I'm not meant to get that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just don't understand. Okay, there's that. Oop. I want to recess this door. There we go. I don't like it when the doors are flat against the wall when you're looking at the outside of a room. I like them, like if you're on the inside of a room, it should be like that, to me, in my opinion. But if you're outside of a room, it should be like that. Because that makes more sense to me. I don't know. Maybe other people do it differently. So. There is no perfect arch in Minecraft? Oh, I guess you're right. There isn't. I guess you're right. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe I'm so used to arch shapes that I'm frustrated because it's not an actual arch. That's a really good point. Thank you for that. So I will quit beating myself up over it. Even though that looks like shit. Oh, you know what would actually be really cool? Hold on. Can I do this? This, and this. And then that and that. Nope. Looks terrible. Okay. Have you seen the movie Troy? Brad Pitt was Achilles. Yes, I have seen the movie Troy, and in my opinion, Troy is a good movie. It is not a good Iliad, but it is a good movie. And I think they got, how do I want to say this one? I think they got the I think they got Agamemnon right in it. Brian Cox as Agamemnon was perfect casting. Menelaus, his casting was perfect. I think Brad Pitt had an excellent casting as Achilles. Eric Bana also excellent casting as Hector. I think the casting in that movie was spot on. I mean, just spot on. I just don't like the way that they changed it. I really, really don't like the way that they changed it. You know, spoilers for a movie that's like, I don't know, 10, 15 years old. Or maybe even 20 years old. I don't know. You know, killing Menelaus at Troy. Nah, that didn't happen. Killing Agamemnon at Troy, or killing... Did they kill Agamemnon at Troy? I don't remember. It's hard for me to remember that movie, but I do remember killing Menelaus at Troy, which, no. Menelaus made it home with Helen, because Telemachus ends up having dinner at his place, and they talk about things, and this is after the war. So yeah, no, I didn't like that fact, but I did like the movie. The movie was a good movie, as a movie, not necessarily as the Iliad. And the other thing is, and this is actually sort of the silver lining for both Troy and this new movie, this new Odyssey movie, is that this is going to get a lot of people really interested in classics. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see the classics admissions, like at UTK and stuff, bump up from there. I mean, I'm already seeing it in the classes that I'm going to be helping, you know, just doing the GTA stuff with this next year. I'm already, I mean, I looked at the attendance, and we have insane attendance for some of these classes. So I'm really excited about that. And I think we're only going to see it grow as well. I mean, we saw that when 300 came out. We saw that when Troy came out. Every time one of these what they call sword and sandals movie comes out, you see an uptick in attendance in these classes, and I think that's great. Well, this is a weird one. So, like that? Hold on, I'm trying to figure this out here. Oh, there's no... Whoops, there's no wall there. Yeah, and actually it looks like it's like this? Okay, yeah, like that. So yeah, there is my take. I'm gonna fill in that hole. I'm also gonna fill that out just a little bit more to even this up, because this looks a little different. And this one is interesting. The courtyard is actually right here. So coming off of this, you got one like this. Oops. This might be all wrong, actually. No, this is looking about right. Okay, so we need to come across here, but these are going to be pillars, so we're going to figure that out here in a second. It's 3 pillars and a short section of wall. So if we have Well, the first pillar is up against here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. We're gonna scooch this over like that. Ah, that's better. That's much better. But this also is... Well, this is the same width as the andron here. So let's see what this andron looks like. Right? It is the... Yeah, it's right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 wide. No, it's not. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's actually 5 wide. Because that andron's just a little too much. So what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well that's fine. You know what? Screw it. It's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. It just looks weird to me looking at it, looking down at it like this, but I guess it works. Whatever. So we've got that. Why does it look weird? Hold on, I'm trying to get this all figured out here. That comes directly off of that room. Yeah. And it goes as far back as the back wall of the andron, which is here. Okay. So this wall comes off of the andron. Yep, okay. Yeah, it just comes out looking odd. It's that width. Same width for the door. But then it does this. And then it's got like that. So maybe I need to do like that, like that, like that? No. No, it's still too wide in between. Man, I don't know. One, two, three. Man, I don't know. This one's a tough one. After Wonder Woman came out, the internet convinced me that nobody knows the difference between World War I and World War II. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, the wars, those two wars are very, very different. And yeah, people get those, I don't know why, but people get those mixed up all the time. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because they were fighting the same people, similar people, not same people, but similar people. I don't know. I really don't know why that seems to be a tough one for some folks. You know what? I'm just going to do this. And drop this. We're just going to have to modify this. I just feel like maybe this is not long enough to do exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. So we've got that, and then we've got that, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got to squeeze in 3 pillars with equal spacing between them and a little nub of a wall. And I don't think we can do that unless we do like this, 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 so that's 3, and then you got a hole, and then you got a nub of a wall. I mean, I guess, yeah, I guess we could do that. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. It just doesn't match up, but that's okay because the courtyard is actually along here rather than all the way to here, which tells me there's probably like an overhang in this section here. Anyways. Then there's this. We're going to come all the way down and see if we line up correctly. Okay, so this wall, if I were to follow this the rest of the way down, should be just to the right of the center of the road. Nope. That is way off. It should be here. Right, I'm sorry. It should be here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that puts them even, but they're not supposed to be even. They're supposed to be like this. Oh, whoops, I'm going too far over. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's see what this looks like. We may just have to call it with this house and just say, yes, that's what it looks like. We're just going to do that. I hate it. I 100% hate it. But we're just going to go with that. Even though it does not look right. You know what? There's a big, long, wide room here. So we probably could just get away with not making that room just as wide. So it comes... The next wall over here is like partway through this room. So let's find the edge of the wall. Is it right there? Nope, it's right here. Okay. So it's like right here. Oh no, there's the wall right there. Never mind, never mind. So then it's like right here. So if we come off like this, because this is like another one of those little warehouse rooms or something, I don't know. Damn, it looks right. No, it doesn't. This is, yeah, so we're gonna, okay, so we're gonna go back to the, we're gonna go back to the way we just had it. Sorry. We're going to do this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, like that. Okay, we're gonna go like that. We're just gonna have to modify it. That's all. That's it. We just there's no way around it. The lines just don't line up. So we'll just stick with this. So let's go ahead and do like this, because that'll be one room. This will be like this, so you can go into this room. Well, it is like that on the plans anyways. And there's a long wall like that. And then it goes here and stops. But then again, like I said, we're missing part of this back wall here. Oh. Hello, Zen. See ya, Shiny. You're probably already gone. Okay, so there we go. So this right here has an opening out to the street. So I'm going to make the assumption that this closes off the rest of this house here. Yeah, because right here is a courtyard for the next house. So this is another little skinny house with one really big room for some reason. And this room has doorways. Here. And here. So, yeah, that's that. Now, this also has like a little square something room right here, but we're not going to do that. Because there's no real practical way to do that. So let's go ahead and do this. Wait, hold on. Is my thing still pinned? My chat? That's weird. There we go. I don't know if it's pinned on your end, but for some reason on my end, it's still pinned. The message that said we were going to start a little late. We ended up starting a little late because I can't seem to do proper time management. And I had started lunch a little too late, and so by the time I sat down to eat, it was already time to start the stream. So I was like, oh shit, can't do that. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. There's this. And then this. And then once we finish this house, I think we'll be done for the stream. We didn't get a lot done, but you know, it is what it is. It had been a while. Should we do the second story for this one? I think that would be an interesting choice. I don't know if it's possible. It's possible to put the second story over this long room and this section here. Oh, and I guess and that section there. That would look terrible though, because it would just be one tall... Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We're also going to knock a hole out for doors there. And same here. We're just going to do one though here, because there is an opening for people to come in this way. And then there's an offset opening, but it does have a wall section here. What the that's not what I asked for. There we go. Yeah, like that. Okay, so here's the courtyard. That's an entrance. You know what? We're just gonna leave this closed off, because they already got an entrance right there. But we will leave this one open. We're just gonna do just a single door. Okay. How do we feel about this? I think I'm just going to... You know what? I'm gonna fix this. I know I keep fussing with this, but I think that's I'm just stuck fussing with this. What happens if I do this? Does that look better? It does. Even though that pillar is against that wall, I think we're just gonna adjust this a little bit, which means we have to put this door offset and this door offset as well. What? My mouse wheel is all messed up. I need to either get a new mouse or fix the mouse wheel. Okay. So that's what we got. Let's do it as a single story. And see how that looks. So we go like this. And we go like this. Oops. Yeah, might as well keep going. And then we come along here, because this is a bit of an overhang. Oh, actually, I will say this. One more thing about the Odyssey real quick. I talked to one of my cohorts, who is another student of my advisor, who is also a classicist, though his specialty, I believe, well, his specialty is not Mycenaean. And he had seen the movie. So I asked him his opinion on it. He said it was okay. That as a movie it was good, but as the Odyssey it was sort of lacking. He said that things were added to it that he didn't agree with. Things were added to it that he thought was an interesting interpretation, and that things were taken out that he wasn't happy about. But overall, his response was, good movie, okay telling of the Odyssey. So he's a classicist. He knows the Odyssey and the Iliad front and back. So take that what you will. And I'm sure he's also done translations, some translations of passages from the book too. He's also taken the archaeology of the Trojan War class, the same class that I took, and ancient Greek technology classes, things like that. So he understands You know, he is a specialist in the field, and so that was his take on it. So, you know, not bad, not bad. So sort of take that how you will. I don't like the roof. It needs to be more sloped. I don't know if we can get away with more of a slope, though. I don't think we can. We can here. Definitely can here. So maybe I just do that. Zen says, I don't like it, not because it's a bad movie, but because of the damage it did to genuinely important things. Oh, interesting. Interesting. And then, are parts copyrighted? Why would they need to remove some bits and add others? No, parts are not copyrighted. It's not a copyrighted thing because the story is, well, I mean, the events of the story and the original story is, you know, over 3,000 years old. So no, things aren't copyrighted anymore. And even if they would, I don't think Homer can try and sue because he's dead. No, things were taken out because that's what Hollywood does. Hollywood likes to just remove things that they don't like from stuff like that. That's what they do. There's no other explanation for it. That's just what they do. All right, so if I do this, hold on, let's play around with this, and I want to bring the peak of this over this way. Okay, and I want to keep it going along here. Right? Am I doing this right? Yeah. Then that means I need to do slabs here. We're going to see if we can make this work. So slab, slab. Okay. So then this here would be stairs. Ooh, that's actually going to work out really well. Check that out. This is actually going to work out really, really well. Look at that. That looks great. Let's give this, let's do some fancy, pillars. Yeah. Oh, I really like how that came out. That came out way better than I was expecting. There we are. Same here. Okay, there we go. You know, I ought to figure out a way to put the chat on the screen so I don't have to keep stopping to look down at it. No, Oda, you did that. Maybe I'll hit you up after this and find out how you did that. That works. Okay, let's slap some doors and some torches on this. We already got the fences for the interior. So, door, torch, window. Oh wow, this is huge. Door, torch. Fixing old amateur hour. Let's do window. 1, 2, window. Okay. Putting it on screen shows it on YouTube's screen, not on your own screen. Oh. But you can still read it though, can't you? Maybe not. Maybe that's the whole... How do you read it then? Okay, so we do this. Also, my phone is blowing up because, I don't know, something's going on with the graduate students. Let's do a window here. Let's do 2 doors like that. So this is the, I assume that means that this is the store. And then we want that. And a door here. Okay, so far so good. I like that. This is definitely giving me... This is not giving me house vibes. This is giving me, like, public space vibes. That makes sense. This sort of colonnade here, leading into this courtyard, which, by the way, I screwed up just a tiny bit. This courtyard is actually covered up to that point. It's a little square courtyard. Yep. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, let's join up, while I'm thinking about this, let's join up this roof to this. So we go like that. Okay, we do this, we fill in the holes. We slap that there. We go like this. What's going on here? Oh, I see what's going on there. Yeah. What do we think of that? I'm half tempted to continue this slope right through here. Let's see what that looks like. So I take this and I just follow this, whoops, follow that along. Take these guys, slap them down here like this. Take those out. Slap that down. Yeah, actually. Actually, I really like that. Also, I just noticed on the map, these are not solid walls, and there are two more, it looks like, maybe three. So what happens if we do this? Ooh. And it looks like there might be one right there. But we're going to leave that one out. Whoops. Too far in. This one, this one. Yes, there is still a column here, even though you have these columns that run along the outside. That definitely looks like... yeah, that is definitely giving me... community, communal space vibes. Definitely. God, that's good. Also, I think it's funny that, I mean, it's also sort of partially why I do it, because it's a fun gag. But I think it's funny that the overwhelming response for a lot of people is that I'm actually drinking at like 2 in the afternoon. So that's I find that humorous. What happens if I do... Oh, there we go. Look at that. Window that opens out onto the courtyard. I might just get rid of this column here and put it here, because that's what it shows on the map, even though it doesn't really need to go there. Yeah, how do we feel about this? Oh, we need to do one of them. And we need to do one of them. Yeah, that has definitely given me peristyle, government building or communal space. Oh, you read the chat through OBS. Interesting. Well, I was looking at getting a larger second monitor, so maybe I do that. But I think it is about that time. I am going to go ahead and call it here. Oh, see you, Perseverance. Good timing, by the way. You can make the decision to drink when you please. It's not my problem. Yeah. But it's a fun gag. All right, so there you have it. There is our little bit. Oops. There's the outro screen. Yeah, thanks for joining me on this. We got a couple of them done. These ones along this back row are pretty difficult to figure out. But I think we're doing pretty good. I think we're definitely on the right track, and I think this stream will go on maybe a few more times. I generally just try to use this stream as a filler for when I don't have a video ready, or when I'm just feeling like I don't want to edit a video. And for those of you who create and do stuff on YouTube, I would recommend that, because sometimes editing takes a long time, or sometimes you got other things going on. It's kind of nice to just sit down and do a stream. So anyways, thank you for joining, and I'll see you next time.